Alright, this video is for worksheet 3-5 for the class Language of Algebra taught on outschool.com. If you're one of my students, you know the drill. I'm going to post the answers here in a second and you can correct your work and then I'll go through it. If you're not in my class but you're like, hey, I wouldn't mind learning these skills live, check out the description below and it will bring you to my class. Alright, so hold on a second and I'll throw these answers up on the screen. Alright, so grade your work. Now remember, we all make stupid little mistakes. We make goofs. It's not a big deal. If you see where you made a goof, do not mark yourself wrong. Just pause the video, fix it, and then continue to grade yourself. If you see a continual pattern and you're like, oh, wait a minute, I know what I did wrong, pause the video and fix all the problems with that pattern. The point is to see our mistakes and to do it right. Okay, the point is not for you to get bad grades on worksheets. The point is for you to see your mistakes, practice doing it right, and move on to the next skill. So that's just so you can be laid back to a certain point about grading, okay? So go ahead and do that. Hopefully you've paused if you're still grading because I'm going to zoom in and show you how I got these answers. All right. So let's look at the first two. So we need to know a little bit about opposite operation. For these first six, we're definitely working with multiplication and division. The opposite operation of division let's try that again. The opposite operation of multiplication is division, and the opposite operation of division is multiplication. Okay, so keep this in mind while you're doing it. To undo around a variable, we got to use opposite operation. There's another thing we have to remember. Because there's an equal sign, we have to do it to both sides because we're saying to be equal. Remember that concept of I have two 25-cent pieces, and over here I have four 10-cent pieces and two 5s. If I take a 5 away over here, they're no longer equal unless I take a 5 away over here. We have to be equal to both sides. When I take something away, I got to take something away from the other side. If I add something to one side, I've got to add it to the other. All right, so in this first one, we ask ourselves, in context at the end, what is going on? Is that number adding, subtracting, multiplying, or dividing the n? The answer is that this symbol right here means we're dividing. So to undo it, we multiply. What we do to one side, we do the other. These cancel, leaving me just with n, and 5 times 4 is 20. All right, over here, the 2 is multiplying the r, so to undo it, we have to divide. So I'm going to divide both sides by a 2. Now, 2 goes into 10 5 times, and it's negative because in negatives and positives of negative, when we're multiplying and dividing, if they have the same sign, answer is positive. Different sign, like in this situation, the 10 is negative and the 2 is positive, then it equals a negative answer, so negative 5. All right, the 7 is multiplying to the s, so to undo it, we have to divide. Make sure you take that negative sign too, or we'll be stuck with the negative sign, all right? Which isn't a bad thing. We can still figure it out, but it's a lot easier if we take it now, all right? So what I do to one side, I have to do to the other. I have a positive and a negative number, so the answer is going to be negative, and 7 goes into 91 13 times. All right, again, this is multiplication, so to undo it, I have to divide. All right, these are going to cancel. 3 goes into 24 8 times, and this is a positive and a negative number, so different signs, the answer is negative. Remember, I teach a class called Crash Course in Negative and Positive Numbers. If you're having trouble with this, you may want to check that class out. All right, in this one, even though x is on the other side, we can still do it. The x is being divided by the 4, so to undo it, we have to multiply. What we do to one side, gotta do to that other side. These cancel. 4 times 11 is 44. The 4 is positive, the 11 is negative. The answer is negative. All right, the 4 is multiplying to the d, so to undo it, I have to divide it. What I do to one side, better do to the other side. They're both positive, so my answer will be positive. And 4 goes into 40 10 times. All right, the 19 is dividing h, okay? So to undo it, I have to multiply. What I do to one side, gotta do to that other side, leaving me just with h. And if I multiply these, 7 carry the 2, 3, 4, 5, 19 is positive, 3 is negative. The answer is negative. The negative 12 is multiplying the q, so to undo it, I have to divide it, and I have to do that on both sides. 12 goes into 24 2 times. Two negatives are same sign, so the answer is positive. All right, the negative 6 is dividing the m, so to undo it, I have to multiply. I have to do that to both sides. These are going to cancel, leaving me just with m. 1 times 6 is 6, positive, negative. The answer is going to be negative. All right, in this one, we have a double sign problem. We can't have double signs. Makes no sense. I can't subtract 836. So the first thing I'm going to have to do is change those signs. Because of the same sign, it actually means to add. Okay? Now, to get that 836 away from the t, it's adding the t, so I have to do that opposite operation of subtracting it. And what I do to one side, I have to do to the other side as well. So I'm going to subtract 836 from both sides. That is going to give me a 0, leaving me just with t. And if I subtract these two, I get 949. All right, the 8 is adding p, so to undo it, I have to subtract it. What I do to one side, I have to do to the other. So that's going to become a 0. 23 subtract 8, okay? If I take 8 away from 23, I'm going to get 15. All right, the 8 is adding to the t, so I'm going to subtract it, and I'm going to do that to both sides of the equation because I have to. I have to remain equal. All right, so those are going to go to 0. Two negatives, it's like adding up my debt. I'm going to have a negative 138. The 21 is subtracting h, so to undo it, I have to add it. What I do to one side, I have to do to the other side, so I'm also going to add it over here. That's going to go to 0, just leaving me with h. And if I owe $52, but I have $21 in my pocket, I owe $31 still. And because I owe, it has to be negative. All right, the 8 is adding to the h, so I need to subtract it. What I do to one side, I have to do the other side in order to remain fair. That's going to go to 0, leaving me just with h. And 11 minus 8 is 3. All right, keep doing this until it makes sense. If you have any questions, contact me, and I'll see you in class.